Imperfect Toad Sage Mode. Jiraiya actually hated his most powerful form, and for the most ridiculous reason you can imagine. This is the Imperfect Toad Sage Mode, and before we get into why this failed transformation was strong enough to destroy 3 of Pain's bodies, let me tell you something wild. The same features Jiraiya thought made him look ugly. Those were actually combat advantages. The toad-like posture gave him insane stability, the altered physique boosted his movement, and the webbed feet turned him into a taijutsu problem nobody wanted to deal with. But here's the crazy part. While Naruto struggled to maintain perfect Sage Mode for more than a few minutes, Jiraiya could fight almost indefinitely thanks to Fukasaku and Shima gathering natural energy on his shoulders while he battled. They weren't just moral support, they were literally the reason he could stay in Sage Mode mid-fight. And to make things even crazier, Pain himself admitted that if Jiraiya had known just one secret about the Rinnegan, the entire Naruto story might have ended right there in Mangaka. So yeah, while Jiraiya was worried about impressing ladies, he was actually walking around with a cheat code that could have changed everything. What truly defines his imperfect Sage Mode is that even with incomplete balance, he reached a level of power most shinobi could never touch, and he did it without ever realizing how close he was to perfection. In the end, this form wasn't held back by its flaws. It was held back by Jiraiya's own belief that it wasn't enough. And that's exactly where the next stage enters the version his student would one day perfect. Perfect Toad Sage Mode. So Jiraiya's version was imperfect, right? Well, Naruto said, watch this, and perfected the technique his own master could never fully achieve. And the difference is literally night and day. Naruto figured out a cheat code, even the toads at Mount Mayabaku didn't think of. When he pulled up to the Pain fight in Sage Mode, this is the same Pain who had just obliterated most of the Hidden Leaf Village and made Jonin look like academy students. Naruto walked in and deleted Pain bodies like he was speedrunning a video game. One Sage-enhanced Rasen Shuriken? Instant death, no regeneration. Gone. His strength spikes so hard, he's tossing giant summons like toys. His speed becomes borderline unfair, and his sensory abilities make it impossible to sneak up on him. And then comes Naruto's IQ moment. Sage Mode normally requires standing perfectly still to gather natural energy, which is obviously impossible mid-battle. So Naruto sends shadow clones to Mount Mayaboku before the fight to charge up, reverse summons them when he needs more energy, and boom, instant Sage Mode battery packs. He literally turned Sage Mode's biggest weakness into a tactical advantage. Oh. And here's the part that shocks everyone. Minato, the Yellow Flash, also mastered perfect Sage Mode. He just didn't use it much, and his reason is peak Minato logic. And here's where things get even crazier. The most advanced version of this form doesn't even appear in Naruto Shippuden. It shows up in Boruto. Koji Kashin, a clone of Jiraiya created by Amato, achieves the flawless Sage Mode Jiraiya always dreamed of but could never reach. No deformities, no toad-like features, just pure perfectly balanced senJootsoo. And the fact that Koji uses this perfected form against Ishiki Otsutsuki, someone far beyond Pain or even Kaguya, proves just how absurdly powerful Perfect Toad Sage Mode becomes when pushed to its absolute peak. Snake Sage Mode. Okay, so we've seen Toad Sage Mode, but now let's talk about the version that's so dangerous to even attempt that most people die before they ever unlock it. Snake Sage Mode from Ryuchi Cave is a different level of terrifying. Not just because of what it does to you in battle, but because the training itself might literally kill you. I'm not exaggerating. The white snake sage straight up bites you and floods your body with natural energy. And if you can't handle that surge, you don't get a second chance. You just turn into stone and die. But if you do survive, you become something that is honestly more monster than human, and I mean that in the best way possible. Kabuto is our main example, and when he activated Snake Sage Mode against Itachi and Sasuke, yes, both of them, he didn't just hold his own. He actually pushed them back multiple times. Think about that. Itachi, the guy who bullies Akatsuki members for fun, and Sasuke with his Mangekyo and Susanoo, both struggling against Kabuto. The transformation is insane. Yellow snake eyes, pitch black sclera, purple markings running all the way down his back, scaly skin, and yes, an actual snake tail. Kabuto literally called himself a dragon in this state, and honestly, fair. But here's where Snake Sage Mode becomes straight up broken. Kabuto figured out how to maintain it indefinitely. The biggest weakness of Sage Mode is having to stay perfectly still to gather natural energy. But Kabuto said, not today, because he integrated Jugo cells which passively absorb natural energy on their own. He removed Sage Mode's only major weakness through pure, unhinged, mad, scientist, genius. Hashirama Senju Sage Mode. Alright, now we need to talk about the Sage Mode so mysterious that, even after all these years, we still don't know where it truly came from, and it belongs to the man they called the God of Shinobi. Hashirama Senju Sage Mode isn't like Toad Sage Mode or Snake Sage Mode. This one is on a completely different plane of existence. It most likely comes from Shikotsu Woods, the third sage region Kishimoto practically left untouched, and honestly, there's probably a reason he kept this one hidden. When Hashirama activates Sage Mode, he gets simple black markings around his eyes and a green circular symbol on his forehead. But don't let the minimalist design fool you. What he can do with this form makes Naruto, Jiraiya, and Kabuto look like they're playing on beginner difficulty. First, the activation speed. No stillness, no charging, no clones, no Jugo cells. Hashirama can enter Sage Mode in seconds, casually, like flipping a switch, and that alone breaks the biggest weakness of Sage Mode. But here's the part that gets completely insane. Hashirama was already a monster with just his wood release. This is the guy who casually creates forests, wrestles the Nine Tails, and whose cells are so powerful people are still stealing them decades after his death. Now imagine all that enhanced by Sage Mode. Tailed Beast Sage Mode. Alright, so we've covered all these different Sage Modes. But now let's talk about what happens when you take Perfect Toad Sage Mode and literally fuse it with the Nine-Tailed Fox's chakra. Because apparently Naruto looked at two of the most broken power systems in the entire series and said, what if I just used both at the same time? And the result is Tailed Beast Sage Mode. A transformation so ridiculously overpowered that it makes regular Sage Mode look like a warm-up. Here is what happens. After Naruto and Kurama became actual friends instead of just container and prisoner, they unlocked this hybrid form that combines Kurama Chakra Mode with Perfect Sage Mode. And the visual change is subtle, but tells you everything you need to know. Naruto's eyes go from the red vertical slits of Kurama Mode to orange, and those vertical fox slits merge with the horizontal bar pupils of Sage Mode to create that cross pattern. It is the same eye design as Six-Path Sage Mode, which should immediately tell you this form is on a completely different level. The chakra cloak changes too, showing that these aren't just two powers being used separately. They're actually fused together into something greater than the sum of their parts. Now here is where it gets absolutely stupid. Naruto gets all the benefits of both transformations at the same time. We're talking Kurama's basically infinite chakra reserves and raw destructive power combined with Sage Mode's enhanced physical stats, sensory abilities, and natural energy manipulation. But it is not just addition, it is multiplication. When Naruto augments a tailed beast ball with senJootsoo chakra, he creates an attack that can hurt opponents who can literally absorb regular chakra. This was clutch during his fight against Obito as the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, because Obito could just nullify normal attacks. But Sage-enhanced tailed beast balls, those actually damaged him. Six-Path Sage Mode. Okay, forget everything we just talked about. Toad Sage Mode, Child's Play, Snake Sage Mode, Cute Party Trick, Hashirama's Instant Activation. That is adorable, because now we're talking about Six-Path Sage Mode, and this isn't even in the same universe as the other transformations. This is literally divine power granted by a god, and only one person in the entire series has it. You can't train for this. You can't learn it at some secret cave. You need Hagoromo, the Sage of Six Paths himself, the man who invented ninjutsu, to personally look at you and say, yeah, you're worthy. That is it. That is the only way. And Naruto Uzumaki is the only shinobi who has ever received this blessing, which should tell you exactly how special this form is. The visual change is subtle but significant. Instead of orange pigmentation like regular Toad Sage Mode, Naruto's eyes show this cross pattern that combines the vertical fox slits from Kurama with the horizontal toad slits from his sage training. It looks divine, it looks clean, and it represents the fusion of every power source Naruto has accumulated. No weird mutations, no animal features, just pure concentrated god-level chakra. But here is where Six-Path Sage Mode becomes absolutely stupid in terms of power. Naruto can fly. Not jump really high, not glide, actually fly. That alone separates this from every other Sage Mode, because flight is supposed to be impossible in Naruto unless you're an Otsutsuki or using some forbidden technique. His physical stats shoot so far beyond normal Sage Mode that comparing them is insulting. We're talking about a Naruto who can kick away truth-seeking balls. These black orbs that nullify all ninjutsu and can erase you from existence if they touch you. Most shinobi can't even get near those things, and Naruto's just swatting them aside, like mosquitoes. Mitsuki's Sage Mode. Okay. So every Sage Mode we've talked about so far required training at some mystical location with ancient sage animals, right? Mount Mayaboku, Ryuchi Cave, Shikotsu Woods. all these legendary places where you risk your life just to learn the technique? Well, Orochimaru looked at that entire system and said, nah, I'm just gonna build one in a lab. And that is exactly what Mitsuki's Sage Mode is, a completely artificial, genetically engineered transformation that might actually be more broken than the natural versions. Let me explain why this is absolutely insane. Mitsuki doesn't train anywhere. He was created with cells from Jugo's clan, which passively absorbs natural energy automatically, combined with Hashirama Senju cells that align his chakra without him even trying. Do you understand what that means? Mitsuki can activate Sage Mode instantly. No sitting still, no gathering energy, no charging up. Just boom. Sage Mode active. He took the biggest weakness of the technique and completely eliminated it through mad scientist genetic engineering. The transformation itself looks straight out of a horror anime in the best way possible. When Mitsuki activates this form, he gets surrounded by this cyan chakra aura that looks almost ghostly. A horn grows from his forehead, scales appear all over his face, giving him that serpentine appearance. His eyes elongate into snake slits, and here is where it gets wild. Transparent snake spirits manifest around his body. These aren't just for show, they're independent entities that can attack on their own. Bite opponents, constrict them, basically giving Mitsuki multiple additional weapons that float around him autonomously. The power increase is absolutely ridiculous, especially for someone who is still technically a genin. Mitsuki's speed becomes so fast that he once stole a scroll from Orochimaru without the Legendary Sannin even noticing.